the intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, taking a look at these new Armadas. Some people call them Formadas. Some people call them Friendmadas. Some people call them, I gotta wait 60 seconds before I say the word because there's rules on YouTube that you're not allowed to say things that are crazy. So I'll tell you in like 30 seconds. We're gonna take a look at these new Armadas and also the artifacts themselves. Now, let me go ahead and say personally that I have two big thoughts about this. One, I love the collection aspect of this. Two, yes, it's more power creep. And yes, Rev will continue to complain about power creep until Scopely actually introduces mechanics to the game that actually improve the game without randomly adding in research that we already have 4 billion times. But I'll cover all that in it. So whether you call them Friendmadas or threesomes, whatever you do, hopefully you've tried these out and are enjoying them. So we've been doing them a lot over the past 3 days in my alliance. Here's an example of one right here, and we'll go over the basic understandings of how it works. So let me go pull up one of these new systems in a lickety-split Jiffy Piffy. So if you scroll up to the top of Fed Spaces, where you're going to find all these, zoom on in, hit your hostile button, and then it's actually kind of wrong here because it doesn't list all the hostiles correctly, but it does list where the Armadas are. Leave it to Scopely to have something broken. So we've been running a lot of these. Let me show you this one, for example, just to kind of go over the basics of these Armadas. Number one, let's go over their stats themselves. You're limited to 4 people in each arm. So that means that when you look at how strong they are, we need to pay attention to, well, can we take them down? And what's the generalized strength practice? Because you can only fit 4 here, y'all know I hate the idea of doing just like straight power, but relatively, you know, you're going to have to play a little bit more close to the vest here. You got to be a little bit more sure of your crews because you have less people. One thing to note, these do not have really any critical chance to them. These Armadas will not hurt you in terms of criticals. Yes, technically it's possible, but that's not where their bread and butter is. Their bread and butter is in the high shield health, high hull health. So you need to put out a lot of DPR to beat them. Now, you'll see I've got logs of a lot of these that we've been running for days, and sometimes we go after like the big ones, the 55s. Sometimes we're just going after the 45s. It depends on which one. So here's like a 55 right here. So I'll give you a visual example of a big one. These are the top ones. Now, in terms of strength, you see we just overloaded it with big 60s, and then I just launched it, and it was an easy W. Now, when you're doing these, please keep in mind that power is relative, but half is probably your safe amount to make sure that you're going to win one of these per arm. So as you go through, you're going to need to launch per arm. Let's just say this 45, you see I've got more than half and everybody does perfectly fine. That's going to be like your minimum, or you can go with the old school rule of a third, but coordination is key. Now here's how they work themselves. Each Armada is part of a massive Armada. So if you're going to launch them, you want to be able to launch all 3. The reason that we call these Friendmadas is you can actually join in with other alliances. Like your alliance can launch this one, another alliance launches this one, and another launches this one. And if y'all take them down, then you will get this reward together. This is the goal. The goal is to not launch one, because you can technically do that. You can launch one formation Armada, one Friendmada, whatever you want to call it, and just do one, and you will get this reward. But you won't get this. You have to run all 3, and that's where the efficiency is. Running all 3 is how you want to really go about this. So keep that in mind. Now, what do you get for that? Well, I'll show you real quick by opening up our artifact menu and our artifact gallery building. Now, there are 2 different pulls here. One pull is going to really annoy you. That's this one. And one you're going to really like. It's this one. This pull is why you want to have all 3 arms of the Armada defeated. You definitely want to do that because this comes in, you get every time you defeat one of those Armadas as a group, you're going to get 1,000 of these. This is what the big chest does and allows you to pull rewards. Now, you do have different rewards based on your level bracket. I'll show you what that is here right now, actually. So shout out to BlueMando who's been putting together this list. These are the current uncommon boxes, you know, coming what you get in your regular chest, as well as the level brackets for each. You see, you have some that are based more for level 50 players, 40s, 20s, etc. And then you also have your artifact restoration chest, which I'll show you in the background here in a second. So this is like your scaling process for what you're getting for beating these armadas and what you can expect to pull from the chest. There are ways to get these in terms of the directives and the artifacts, but this is basically just collectible research, but I still like that idea. Now here is artifact restoration. The reason this one's going to get on your nerves is there's a 3-day cooldown. So my recommendation is when you're going to do these, always triple pull, because this is how you get your artifact schematics. This allows you to upgrade your building. So I'm going to always say triple pull because now you have to wait 3 more days to do it again. I got 100 schematics, and you see I got 2 more Muds Andorian helmet, more Ammonite fossils or prosperity, and then the breathing mask. So I'm going to come back here, and now I'm working to unlock these, blah, 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 blah. Now, one cool feature I want to point out here, click this little I button. It actually shows you what all of these artifacts do and what they are in terms of research. So I've got my Ammonite fossil up to level 2, which means that I currently have a 20% boost to protected cargo for all my ships. And that's honestly nice. We like protected cargo around here. So helps you with the mining that you have to do. And I'm close to getting Janeway's mug, which will be increasing repair speed for all ships. Yay, I'm happy with that. And I will say that in general, a lot of these researches are not super common. So they have broken it up a little bit. Like for example, Quark Scanner is a interceptor based whole health, or increases whole health for interceptors. It's very specific instead of giving it to all ships. So you have to get different ones. If you want explorers, you need Chapel's Hypo Spray. You want battleships, you need McCoy. And the nice thing about this to me is it's RNG based. Normally, I'm not going to say, hey, Scopely, love your RNG. But in this particular instance, I do. Because this isn't something you can just pay to get all the research done. You're going to have to go through the grind. Even if you paid for more directives, you don't get to choose what research you're going after. So there's a random element to it. And I think there's value to that. Maybe you agree or disagree. But unlock and upgrade artifacts to unlock powerful effects that will give your fleet an edge, and obtain them by defeating the armadas. One thing that's not listed here in that is how do you get the directives? So there are a couple of things to note. In your battle pass this month, there are multiple directives available, including milestone 4 right here. You also have events that have been rolling out this month that pay a little bit. But in terms of your everyday drip right now, in the 4th daily milestone goal, this one right here, you can't see it because I already pulled it, but this one right here gives you 15 of the uncommon directives per day. Now, we'll go ahead and say I think that you need better sourcing. Some early feedback that we're working on right now is, number 1, the timer for this chest is terrible. 3 days sucks. That needs to change. I have no idea why this is 3 days. That makes no sense to me. I should be able to pull it once a day to whatever amount I have, and which means I have 6,000 right now. That's my personal opinion. If you agree or disagree, comment down below. Second off is the timer itself for the Armada, which is currently set to 15 minutes. Now, there's a poll going on in the Discord. If you have not seen it, I know we're a little bit hesitant when it comes to polls right now, and I completely get that. However, that said, letting you know, there's a poll. God, gotta be, oh man, well, they'll burn you just a couple times and you lose faith. But oh, I really have kind of lost faith in polls sometimes. But all right, I'm gonna put up on the screen so you can see it. Transition. You go to the official Discord. Using emotes, you can vote. I talked to dev themselves. Like I asked the devs, is this a real thing? Or is this like last month where you're just polling to get an idea of what to add to a store? And they've told me that they are probably going to honor. I can't even say it specifically. I'm not going to put my butt out there again. Not getting burned. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. And I don't want to be shamed. I look good. Damn, the beard's popping, but damn it, I don't want to be shamed. So come in here and vote. As you can see, most people are voting to knock that timer down to 10 minutes, which I think most people would prefer. So generally speaking, in terms of crewing, I know that's going to be the next question y'all ask. Crewing is basically how you would run any normal Armada crew. Nothing crazy, nothing super special. You do want to keep in mind that you are limited to 4 spots. So you don't have to worry about critical builds. in terms of those with those armadas are not putting out a lot of criticals, but you do want to make sure that you can beat all three. So this was a partial because we only beat 2 of them, which means we didn't get the big chest, which sucks. We only got regular cargo. But in terms of value, make sure crew-wise, your value is based around our normal crews. This is, just a simple full synergy Cisco run, DS9 crew. These are all available level 35 plus players. Start pulling that in your Bajor faction. You got your classic, your 5-6 cons. These are going to be very valuable. You got your mitigation, piercing, criticals. These are the same types of tactics that we talk about running all the time. Same thing, 5-6 con. I would say that because these are only 4 people, be very careful of running a support ship, but you can still run a support ship. Getting hull breach in helps. Be mindful of this fact as well. I know I'm saying a lot of mindful things. I should probably make this into a new merch idea, a new t-shirt. Be mindful. But remember, these are 3 separate armadas for 1 major reward. So if you're going to bring hull breach, this hull breach will not give you hull breach on these 2. These are 3 separate armadas for 1 big goal. So however you split it up, pay attention to your crews, but you don't have to worry about, running anti-critical builds like you would for the Cardassian armadas. There's not like a special sauce here. These are basically regular armadas, at least the uncommons are. We'll see what the rares look like. You simply need to focus on your basic crews if you're in the 20s or 30s and want to do this, because you do start these off in the mid-20s. Kirk Spock Khan is a good generic one. 5, Kirk Spock. You could even run, Giorgio and, Bernie with Ash Tyler. These crews that have become staples for the game. Keep those in mind. But this is the basics, hopefully, that gives you everything that you need. One last time, I want to put this up on the screen. This will be available in my Discord. Yes, I know I say that all the time, and it is. So if you want this chart to see where these are, if you want the entire spreadsheet, because there is a spreadsheet that goes into estimated sourcing times and things like that. Shout out to BlueMando, shout out to JulesVern, all these wonderful volunteers who make these spreadsheets, because it's a lot of work. Check it out in our Discord. Beyond that, live long and prosper. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. If you have any questions about any of this content, what you want help with or any of that, drop it down below. And enjoy your new Friendmadas. I like Friendmadas because I like the idea that maybe we could, run them as, multiple alliances. But I also know on server 20, that's never going to happen. It's going to be IA and IA alone. But however you enjoy them, I hope you are enjoying them. Catch you on the next video. Out.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.